Just walk away, idiot. Single dad rescued a drunk CEO, her morning words shook him. The rain was coming down hard when the woman screamed at him. Just walk away, idiot, she shouted, her words slurred, her heels slipping on the wet sidewalk. He could have listened. He should have listened. But something about the way she almost collapsed right after saying it made him stop cold, and that one moment of kindness would change both their lives forever. Before we dive into this story, take a second to support the channel. If stories about real-life kindness, second chances, and unexpected connections move you, please subscribe, like this video, and leave a comment below. You're watching Heartfelt Moments, where small acts of kindness create big changes. Now, let me tell you what really happened that night. Ethan Parker was exhausted. A 34-year-old single dad, he worked long shifts as a maintenance supervisor at a small apartment complex in Ohio. That night, he had just finished fixing a broken boiler and was hurrying home to his 8-year-old son, Noah, who was staying with a neighbor. Money was tight. Life was tighter. Ethan hadn't had a day off in weeks. All he wanted was to get home, heat up leftover soup, and listen to Noah tell him about school. That's when he saw her. She was standing near a closed coffee shop, soaked from the rain, arguing with no one. Her hair was messy, her expensive coat half-buttoned, her mascara streaked down her cheeks. When she tried to step forward, she stumbled and nearly fell into the street. Ethan slowed down. He told himself not to get involved. He didn't have time. He didn't have the energy. And the last time he tried to help a stranger, it ended in trouble. But then she looked straight at him, eyes glassy and angry, and yelled, "Just walk away, idiot." Most people would have done exactly that. Instead, Ethan stopped. "Ma'am," he said calmly, keeping his distance, "you're not okay. Can I call someone for you?" She laughed bitterly. "Yeah. Call my life. Tell it to stop falling apart." She turned, took another step, and collapsed onto the sidewalk. Ethan ran to her side, holding up his jacket to shield her from the rain. He checked to make sure she was breathing, then called for a ride service and stayed with her, even as she muttered insults and tried to push him away. When the driver arrived, Ethan gave his own address. He didn't know why. Maybe it was because she reminded him of how he felt after his wife passed away, lost, angry, and drowning. Maybe it was because Noah always asked him why some adults didn't have anyone to take care of them. Ethan brought her to his small, modest home. He laid her on the couch, placed a blanket over her, and left a glass of water and pain relievers on the table. He slept in a chair nearby, just in case. In the morning, sunlight filtered through thin curtains. The woman woke up slowly, head pounding, confused by the unfamiliar room. She sat up fast, panic flashing across her face. "Where am I?" she asked sharply. "You're safe," Ethan said gently from the kitchen doorway. "You passed out last night. I didn't know where else to take you." She looked around at the worn couch, the child's backpack by the door, the crayon drawings on the fridge. Her voice dropped. "You didn't rob me?" He almost laughed. "Didn't even check your purse?" She pressed her hands to her face, breathing shakily. "I was awful to you." "You were hurting," he replied. "It happens." She stared at him for a long moment, then said quietly, "I told you to walk away." "I know. Why didn't you?" That question hit Ethan harder than he expected. "My son," he said simply. "I want him to grow up believing people don't just leave." Tears filled her eyes. Her name was Claire Whitmore. Over breakfast, toast and instant coffee, she told him the truth. She was the CEO of a fast-growing tech company. Publicly successful. Privately drowning. The night before, she'd been fired by her own board after a brutal power struggle. Years of pressure, loneliness, and pretending she was fine had finally cracked her. "I've spent my whole life being admired," she said softly. "Last night, I needed help, and I treated you like garbage." Ethan shrugged. "You're still here." She laughed through tears. Before she left, she asked for his number. He hesitated, then gave it. Weeks passed. Ethan didn't expect to hear from her again. Then one afternoon, his landlord called him into the office. Repairs he'd requested for years were suddenly approved. His rent was reduced. Noah's school called to say his after-school program was fully covered by an anonymous donor. That evening, Ethan's phone buzzed. It was Claire. "I didn't do it because I'm rich," she said when he confronted her. "I did it because you saw me as human when I couldn't see myself that way." They met for coffee sometimes. Nothing fancy. Just conversations. No titles. No pretending. Claire eventually started over, this time leading with compassion instead of fear. Ethan learned that kindness didn't make him weak, it made him strong. And Noah? He grew up watching his dad stop for strangers. Years later, when someone asked Ethan why he helped a woman who told him to walk away, he smiled and said, "Because sometimes the people who push us away the hardest are the ones who need us to stay." Kindness doesn't always look heroic. Sometimes it looks like staying when it's easier to leave. And if this story reminded you that a small act can change a life, take that feeling with you today. Be the person who stays. Be the kindness someone else desperately needs.